Borada. This is as far as we've got. I can't believe that it is actually 14 months since I put the last video in on this, but there we are. And I have worked on this quite a lot, on and off. Unfortunately, it had to go somewhat outside under a lean-to, and the frame has acquired a little bit of rust. Now, I was originally going to put the motor there in the front wheel, but then an offer came up for a 24 volt motor from somebody on eBay, and I decided that I could put it in the centre here. That didn't work. I would have been able to drive through the gears, which is what a lot of the bikes do now, very expensively. I mean, we're talking thousands of pounds, many thousands of pounds for some of these bikes. But what I was actually doing was driving through derailleur sprockets, and derailleur sprockets are different because they're designed to throw the chain off, and unless it's closely guided, which is what you actually get with the mechanism down the back there, that's exactly what it does. It chucks the chain off, and that is not overly helpful. You can see we actually got the steering connected up, and I did actually test the bike with the motor in the centre, and I had all the wires neatly bundled up, but for some reason the neat bundling came undone, and we ended up with a bit of a bunch of buggers. But anyway, that can be sorted out. Now, round the back here, where we have the rear suspension, we put the batteries. Quite honestly, there really isn't any point in having rear suspension. It's just the fact that you can have it. Excuse me a moment. That's where the seat goes, up there. And obviously handlebars work there like that. Now, what it would be better to do is to actually hinge the seat at the front and put some springs under the back of it. That'll protect your backside. When you get to this sort of stage, with the batteries carried on the rear suspension, so the probably pushing 50% of the weight of the bike is unsprung, it just becomes a bit silly. Now, we made a little differential, and yeah, it works, honest, as you can see. I'll just lean on the other wheel. This is the drive coming through from the derailleur, and that in there is where the back brake is. Somebody on the internet said, oh, you don't need a back brake, it's just basically going to cause you problems, because if you put the back brake on, then the rear end will try and overtake the front end. That is true to a degree, but then the guy actually lived in the Netherlands, which I believe is not exactly noted for hills, whereas I live in West Wales and we've got mountains here. Not enormous mountains, but big enough. Now, as you can see, we've got a fair bit of brown stain on the steel, but that can be taken off, not too much of a problem. Getting a battery, and I don't know whether I can do this with one hand, but we'll give it a try. It doesn't look like it at the moment. Yep. Here we go. As you can see, it all goes round quite nicely. And if I put some weight on the inner wheel, it's just driving on the other one and back. So the differential does work. Now, with driving on the rear axle like this, you do definitely need the differential. It's actually very simple and it really didn't cost a lot of money. The frame is actually welded up, but as my friend pointed out to me, it could have been a slice off a 60mm square tube. The little gear wheels are Chinese, off the internet again, off eBay, and that's basically all there is to it. A little bit of machining. These are 20mm tubes, and we've got 12mm stubs coming in so that they pick up on the bore of the pinions. Now, the drive from the pedals is solid. It has to be because the rear brake is up there, which isn't actually connected at the moment, but that's due to alterations. And the drive from the motor is through a freewheel. That's it, freewheel. There we are. So you can see that's the freewheel, and when the motor runs it goes round. That basically is about it at the moment. Whether I actually proceed and take this through to completion, I'm not absolutely certain, but there we are. Now, quick word about UK law. Pedal assisted bicycles, which is what this is. Contradiction of terms because it's got 3 wheels, but according to the law it could have 4. Should have a hall sensor on the pedals to control the motor. If you have a twist grip as of 1st of January 2016, then your machine would have to have type approval. Heaven alone knows exactly what that means when it relates to a bicycle, but there we are. And you're also allowed a 250 watt motor. That's the lot. That one there is 24 volts, but it's 250 watt. So you can work out the amperage yourself, because I can't be bothered. It actually, the motor came complete, of course, with the controller and the brakes and everything, which have got cutouts on them. So you put the brake on, the motor cuts. But really, in the light of what I have now discovered, this would be quite a lot different to what I've got it now. And I suppose you could say that this is actually a good collection of mistakes. But if you're building your own and you look at this, it gives you a chance to say, well, I wouldn't do it like that, which is absolutely just fine. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and we will do another one, hopefully before another 14 months is up. Okay, thank you.